Okay guys, I wanted to update y'all just a little bit on what we've been doing about some of the finishes on a couple of the black cars. And as you well know, black's the best to work with, especially if you're wanting to prove your polishes to be good. And I want to give you an idea. On this hood right here, now I'll have my camera person come over, and you see right in here, see this, all these scratches right in here? Well, that's what we're working with. Now we've already worked some out, and if you'll move it down just a hair, and come right in this area right here, right there. Okay, that's what's been done. Now you say, okay, how did we come back up to here? Now you're going to say, well, now how did we get to that? Here's how we got to that. We've got 800, 2,000, and 3,000 paper. Oh. And 5,000. Now, do I have to go to that extreme? Depends on what you want. Now, I've done some on this hood here, just to show you from what we got here, down to here on the finish. There's done some on the other side. It's just many different stages of, if you don't want to go to that ultimatum here that you've got, you say, well, I can stop off at, say, this side over here, or maybe this right here is as good as I want it. That's really up to the individual. And especially if you're doing it for someone, you show them an example of what you've got, and they say, well, that right there will be good enough for me. Because some of it they can't even see. So you being with the trained eye, you can see stuff that they can't see. So you just ask them, which one do you want it like? Now, how do we get there? Okay, I use, because I don't hurry the process up too much, so I use a finish pad. This is a finished wool pad with, after I've done my sanding on it, just a light polish. Sound like a commercial, I know, but that's what I do use. Then, if you want to take the swirl marks out that you've left with the buffer, take you a medium grade pad. You can take medium or light. I prefer the medium. And this one just happens to be a Rupees here on the thing. It's got a variable trigger. But you do want something in a random orbital family. And that's what you're looking to do. Now, you say, well, you done any others besides this hood here? Let me get the camera person. We'll go right over here. Here's my Buick. I've done the same. Now this, if you come over to this side here, so you got a lot of dullness, a lot of scratches done here. Well, if you come back over to the side here, and we've done this section here. Now you still see there's a couple of little scratches left in here. It depends on what you're going to do, what you're going to do with your automobile. Now, when you come to that, you say, well, it don't have to be quite that shiny with all the scratches out because I am going to drive it. Well, okay, then that's the decision that you have to make. And if you're doing it for a customer, then they have to make that decision. Of course, the more time you put into it, you have to make sure that there's enough clear coat, and if it's a single stage, there's enough paint to do it, and that they got the money to cover it, because the more you do, the more you invest in time into it, and time is money, and it's your time and your money, especially if you're going to put it out there to do that. So that's just, and it's the same process that I used on the truck over there. You still got if you do your sanding, and I use like a water. I want to keep, when I'm sanding, I want to keep the area kind of flooded. So I use on my sandpaper, take a little block, and that's so that you don't have your fingers like so mashing it and making a print. Take a little block, and it takes that away from you on a good flat area where you can. So and it's called block sanding. That's where that comes from. Do that. Now then you can come back, and when you're finished with your 5,000, you can come back and buff it. Then when you're done with that, take your swirls out with your random orbital, and then you can put your wax on it. And that will be the Sam's spray wax or the final wax, either one.